And just like that, we're back. This is a game called Up Front. Been around for a little bit, and dubbed the Squad Leader card game, although I would add that is somewhat misleading for those that are unfamiliar with one or the other or both. Play significantly different than Squad Leader, although it does bear some fundamental skeletal similarities. The flesh that hangs on the bone is significantly different. Not sure why I have 2 copies of this, but that's what I have. And obviously it's out of print. It fetches pretty good sum on eBay. But if you can find a copy, I recommend getting it. I think you can also download a digital PDF version of this somewhere online, War Game Vault or something to that effect. Not sure if the cards will have the same art on it or not. Anyway, that's for you to explore, but definitely worth picking up. And again, it's been a while since I played this too, so will be lots of pauses and checking of things. And obviously the game doesn't come with this nice terrain board here. I've added this for my own enjoyment. Not required for the game though. What does come with the game? Well, a significant amount of counters. I won't run through the entire gambit of them. The cards, of course, as this is a card-driven game, not card-assisted. This is card-driven. There's no dice. You may be running through the box saying, "Where the hell's the dice?" The dice are represented by random numbers on the cards, and I think that's something Combat Commander has going for it. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea, but that's fine. I mean, if it works, hats off to them for incorporating something that works. So specifically for what we're looking at here, we've got personality cards, which is what they call each soldier. This is a man-to-man simulation or game. You're not dealing with squads. You're paring it down even more to the individual soldier level. Now, that said, you do have groups of soldiers. In this case, we would have 4 groups of 3 soldiers each for the U.S., 4 groups, and 2 of them with 3 soldiers and 2 of them with 2 soldiers. And you can divide that up however you like, and you can change that during the course of the game with lateral moves. If the game's already started, you can transfer soldiers from one group to another. And obviously, before the game starts, you can decide that, say, perhaps I want everybody in one group or 2 groups, etc. I guess the gist of that is at least one thing, obviously, would be your firepower. So the more you have in a group, the greater your firepower. And that is important because when you want to fire, A, you need to draw a card that allows you to fire, and B, you need to have enough collective firepower available to spend the cost of that card. That is how you fire in the game. What else do you have here? Have each group represented with a counter on the terrain board here. And we'll unveil and reveal things as we go along. I'm not going to break down everything by way of introduction. The rules, you need to be war game savvy to sift through these things. They're done presentation-wise in somewhat of a poor manner that could be cleaned up. And as the case may be, I'm not sure. There probably is a cleaned up version of these on Board Game Geek that would be available for download and make it easier to digest. But if you're a seasoned, savvy war game fella, you probably won't have too much trouble with these. Font's kind of small, and for the first scenario to hop into this thing, you're going to need to read through just to, for instance, breaks down the cards, runs through a preparation or a prepare to play segment, then it goes right into the sequence of play, and then you're looking at fire attacks, movement and range determination, then fire attacks, terrain and movement, fire attack modifiers, terrain effects, and pinned men and rally. What else? Crew served weapons, moving fire, artificial terrain cards, snipers, command control, the action deck and victory determination, flanking fire and encirclement. And now we're at page 12, and this is all required reading. Weapons acquisition, malfunction, infiltration, and close combat. That brings us to about page 14. Infiltration and close combat is fairly involved. And then you get into things that you'll need to learn piecemeal as you go along playing different scenarios. So not everything in here is required knowledge right off the bat, which is fine by me. Of course, when you do have armor in here, once you get into that, that's a whole significant section that needs to be comprehended. Guns, mortars, etc. All kinds of stuff there. But enough goodies in here to make it worth your while. I mean, I don't know that they've left anything out of here. You even have knight, artillery. You can break things down by troop types. Such as, for instance, Volks, Grenadiers, Paratroops. Adds a little flavor. So the deeper you get into this, and that seems to be the case with most games, the deeper you dive, the better it gets. But that just depends on how deep you're willing to go. You can do team play in here, though I would say this is plays just fine. I don't know if build as a specific solitaire game, but no, I'm going to say it's not. But it plays solitaire just fine. Not too much of a hang up there. There's a potential for campaign game. And nationalities represented in the game. Well, in the base game you have the Germans, the Russians, and the Americans, of course. Now you have an expansion that came out, possibly two, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely one. The Bonsai expansion introduces the Japanese and the British. I think there was a desert one that came out too. I don't quote me on that. And again, you do well to check Board Game Geek because there's always people creating and adding things. How many scenarios come with this base game here? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And of course, I would say that the replayability of each of these scenarios is high based on the cards because you don't know what you're going to get. It's going to be different every time. So there's a plus in my book. The first scenario is known as Meeting of Patrols, and that's what I have set up ready to go here. We have the Germans versus the Americans, although it does allow for Germans versus Russians, or if you were particularly drunk, you could do the Russians versus the Americans, I suppose. And it tells you what you need to start the game. So for the Americans, we pulled the personality cards numbered 1 through 12. For the Germans, we pulled the personality cards numbered 1 through 10 and set them up as according to the rules. Special rules, each of these scenarios may or may not have special rules, as well as victory conditions. Special rules in here include the pillbox and minefield cards are treated as coward cards. Surely I will remember that. Also, you need to remove the first 5 building cards to be discarded unused, or as a RPC RNC draw. RNC is a random number card, I believe. And then the victory conditions for this doohickey. It's going to be the first player to have at least 4 unpinned personality cards in 1 or more non-infiltrated groups at range chit 4, occupying any terrain card which will reduce the fire strength of attack against them, i.e. cover, is the winner. Kind of convoluted with their victory conditions, but that's how the game plays. And a lot of these victory conditions will consist of how far along as either group you can get and not be pinned, etc. So the acquisition of territory as a victory condition in this game is prevalent. Neither here nor there, just an observation. Alright, so how do we start? And I'll try to explain things to the best of my ability as we go. For those of you that are seasoned at playing this, hang on to your hats. I'm sure I'm going to do things wrong and screw things up. So feel free to comment below and let me know what I messed up. Otherwise, just do your best to try and enjoy. And again, by way of disclaimer, for those of you that have never played this, this is not, I repeat, not a how to play video. Read the rules, learn for yourself, and don't learn from me because I will do things incorrectly. I can read the rules 15 times and I guarantee you I will still do one or more things incorrectly. I've just got the single camera view up here. I tried the secondary one, and other than including my face in the video, it really didn't capture anything additional, detail-wise, etc., that didn't necessarily I felt needed to be portrayed, so I opted just for a single camera for this video. So where do we begin? We begin with prepare to play, which we've already done, and just for those of you that are unfamiliar, this is extremely helpful. It explains that you need to set up your groups, which I've already covered briefly, 1 to 4 groups, and you can place as many or as little soldiers in a group that you require. Let's see, place a range 0 chit at the head of each group to identify its starting and relative range to opposing groups, which I've done. The action deck is shuffled, and I had a lot of fun doing that because as I have 2 copies of this game and I'm always fiddling with things, I had to count each card in here, and they are numbered to make sure the deck was complete, and then I shuffled it, so we're good to go there. You deal your hand. So for this, the Germans, and it tells you Germans are going to draw 5 cards, which I've done, and the U.S. draws 6 cards. So right off the bat, that should spark an indication that command or training via a specific nationality is somewhat represented in the card hand. You could argue that the Americans maybe are a little bit better at this point, or at least at this particular engagement, than the Germans, but that's not the sole indication. You also have a discard ability. Where is that at? If his opponent receives 6 cards, each card kept concealed. Okay, let me come back to that. What's my discard capability here? A German may always, so here we go. This is more by way of abstracted command and specific nationality stuff. A German player may always discard 1, but never more than 1 unused card from his hand, regardless of the number of actions he performed during his turn. On the other hand, an American player may discard up to 2 unused cards from his hand, however, only if he performs no other action during his player's turn. So argue amongst yourselves the benefit of either of those capabilities. So now we head to, let's see, did all that. Each player's cards are, okay. Initial terrain, this is section 3.6. The player specified by the scenario as having the first play. Who might that be, I wonder? First, Germans, okay, and this is 3 turns, and what represents a complete turn? Cycling through the entire deck. Now, before you fall out of your chair, again, you're rolling dice by drawing cards, so there will be a significant portion of cards that just go like that because you're drawing them simply for the random number on the card. Initial terrain, blah, 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 the opposing player, okay. So the Germans, let's see, has the option of placing one terrain card in his possession on one of his, or, here's the cool part, one of your opponent's groups. So we're going to determine, if we have any terrain, we're going to determine where that terrain goes now. And so far, okay, no terrain cards for the Germans, so that does not take place for them. The opponent can, okay, blah, 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 blah. The opposing player then has the option of playing one terrain card he has. Do the Americans have any terrain cards, I wonder? Say, Jason, they do. They have a wall and a gully. So I have, as the Americans, the option at this point of placing either or both of those cards on myself or the opposing player. And okay, blah, blah, blah. Now this would go back and forth until they're all placed, but again, the Germans don't have any. So, let's see, an opponent cannot reject a terrain card during prepare for play. So otherwise, if I didn't like a terrain card that an opposing player placed on one of my groups, I could reject it, but not during this segment of the game. Group which already has one. Okay, what else? The opposing player. First player will not play another terrain card. Begin play. So I don't know that it would be to my benefit, at least. It might be to the Germans' benefit if I played either of those cards on them. Everybody is currently out in the open. And so let me verify. I think it is in my best interest to place either or both of those on my stuff. So a wall, let's see here, walls. Yeah, walls are great for a defender, obviously, as is a gully. A group occupying gully terrain cannot attack or be attacked except by sniper. A defending group in a gully may deduct 2 from the fire strength of any group which is attacking it. So at this point I think I'll play, let's put a gully card here under group D and a wall card under Group A. Group A has my squad leader. Each side has a squad leader and assistant squad leader. The assistant squad leader isn't really used in a leadership capacity unless something happens to the squad leader. So the dice here will represent the personality card that is the squad leader. So this guy's a squad leader. This is Sergeant Burnett. And Sergeant Beitenker is the squad leader for the Germans. Alright, I placed my terrain cards. What do I do next? Well, let's take a look. Okay, what card can we play? Well, no, okay, backpedaling. What happens next? Sequence of play. Initial terrain. Okay, we placed our terrain cards. Alright, now I need to draw 2 cards to re-up my hand, which is 6. There we go. Now I'm back to my full hand capacity with 2 terrain cards placed. Again, we're looking at a wall and a gully. Now, the sequence of play. The game begins with the player specified by the scenario taking his play first. That would be the Germans. When he is finished, the opposing player takes his turn. So, action capability. A player turn consists of a player performing a maximum of 1 action in each group he controls. So, I will get 4 actions and only 1 action per group. So, for What do I have? I have a movement card, a fire card, a rally card, which does me no good now, and another fire card. So these fire cards, right, have a cost, which is the circled number. See that circled number 2? I would need a collective firepower of 2 to use this card. I also have a firepower of 3 card and a firepower of 10. And you can't combine adjacent groups. It has to be the particular group using the fire card that pays the cost. So if I have enough firepower, I could potentially use 2 or more fire cards. So in this particular instance, if I had a firepower of 5 to pay the cost of the 3 and the 2, I could use both of these. At least that's my understanding. So what do I want to do? Let's see. Let's try and move first. Who wants to move? Let's move. Oh, I should add the Germans have a crude light machine gun here. Why would you want to crew a weapon? Well, because it has 2 firepower factors. And if you want to benefit from the higher value, you crew the weapon. And that simply entails a crew counter that is placed on the support weapon and the personality card that is helping to crew the weapon. That's what I've done here. So, okay, here's what I'm moving. I'm moving +1. Also, I will add, when you place a movement card, you see the plus and then you see a minus, these circled symbols. The plus represents moving towards the enemy. The minus represents withdrawing. So if I was withdrawing, I would turn the card this way. And you can see the soldiers' backs moving away to help denote that. This way, they're moving towards the enemy. Hence, you can see the fronts. So let's move. We place a movement card underneath them, and what happens? Their relative range, because it's going up. Something else to bear in mind. You don't always have this. In fact, you probably never have this. This, again, is just a me thing. To represent range, because there's no map and there's no dice, you use these relative range chits. They look like this, and it is the point of view of a soldier looking down the barrel of a gun and a number. So the number somewhat represents your range. Everybody starts at range 0. As you move, which this guy just did, he moved up 1, right? You change that 0 to a 1. And if you'll notice, kind of cool, there's a little scene on each of these relative range chits. And as you get closer, the enemy that you're moving towards gets bigger on these range chits. So they did their action. That's 1. That was a move action. Let me make sure. Move is accomplished by playing movement cards. Any group may place a movement card, provided it does not currently contain a pinned personality card. Changing the current movement cards also used to change relative distance. So they're moving. So if they were to fire, they would have their firepower. Forward mode, the group is moving in relative range, playing movement card in the reverse mode, blah, blah, blah. You can also move laterally. So let's see. Range. So what would be the range now between, just by way of example, between this guy and his directly opposing group, Group C, who is at range 0? Well, you arrive at that relative range by adding both sides range chit. So he is at 1, he is at 0. 1 and 0 is 1. However, it's not that straightforward. As things move along, it gets a little more weird, which is why you have a relative range chart. Here's a little card that is your relative range chart. There's also one in the rule book here. So you can add them up, because there will be times when you have a negative range, a -5 for instance, and you want to be able to figure your range. It gets a little tricky, and in my opinion, it's unnecessarily tricky. I think they could have done this a different way and simplified it, but it is what it is. So just to verify that I'm correct, a 0 and a 1 is in fact a 1 at this point. So he would be at a relative range 1, or they would be at a relative range 1 from each other. Now, if he was to fire at group B, who he is not directly across from, you would add 1, or subtract 1 rather, from the relative range. I'm foggy on that, but bottom line is the range is going to change. I don't remember if it's add or subtract for firing at somebody that is not directly across, and you would do, so that would be 1. And then if he was to fire at group A, that would be 2. That would be either added or subtracted from the relative range. Again, you have this handy relative range chart that does the math for you. So let's see. Just by way of example, he's at relative range now, 1 now, so 2, he would be at relative range 2, and he would be at 0, so that would still be 2. So, all right. Anyway, you get the idea. I won't belabor the point, which I've already done. I'm trying to determine if the movement card, I believe it does, it just stays. I don't remove it. At some point I will discard this movement card. I don't remember when. Let me pause this and figure that out when that movement card, how long it stays on there. Alright, short of losing my mind, I'm going to assume the card just stays here for now. We'll leave it at that. Next action. All I have left is rally card, again, which does me no good at this point, but it will, so I need to hang on to it. And 3 fire cards, but now with the relative range, the farther away you are, the lower your firepower is. Firepower increases as you get closer to the enemy. At this point in the game, definitely not going to have 10 enough to use this 10 firepower factor card. Or will I? So I have this 10 factor firepower card, and I'm looking at the light machine gun, which will have a firepower of 9. He's at relative range 0. Yeah, it's still not going to be enough. Won't be able to use 10 yet, but soon. Soon. Now they move, they'll fire at half. I have a 3. I have a 2 firepower factor card, which only requires, well, 2. Let's just use this 2 firepower factor card. Group A, no, he's going to fire, let's see, Group C will fire. They definitely have the firepower to use it. And the top number on the card is the main number you're going to use. It isn't, the numbers that you use on the personality cards are what you use to be able to afford this number here. If you can afford it, then your end result is the number here that you use to fire with, right? 2. They have enough, they're going to fire. So how do we do that? Well, let's take a look. Firepower, then firepower. Each man has firepower. Only a firepower rating. Fire strength once it's determined if the attacking group is currently moving. They're not. Modify the fire strength by adding any modifiers due to the attacker's position, such as wire. So things that would affect the attacker when firing include wire, stream, marsh, smoke, and elevated fire. Anything affecting the defending group, no, nothing. They're in the open. And any modifiers due to the terrain occupied by the defender, no. No movement status, the defending group or the firer. Fire combat resolution after seeing the final modified fire strength of any attack, which is our 2, right? It is the attacker's option whether or not he wishes to resolve the attack or just discard his played fire card or cards, which still constitutes an action taken. To resolve an attack, repeat the following procedure for each man in the target group. So I'm going to do resolve fire for each of these 3 soldiers in group B, moving from left to right. Now it's important that you place these cards, I may not have mentioned this, in a certain order, 1, 2, 3, etc., because it'll come into play for, again, combat resolution. To resolve an attack, repeat the following procedure for each man in the target group in sequence. Draw the top card from the draw pile and add the final fire strength of the attack to the random number card. So this number here is what you're going to use for your die. If the random number is black, you're going to add it. If the random number card is red, you're going to subtract it. Compare this final combat resolution number with the defense values of the personality card under attack. The final combat resolution number is only compared to the defense values currently exposed on the card, i.e. face up. If the personality card has an exposed KIA value less than or equal to the final combat resolution number, the personality card is eliminated. So if the the final combat resolution number is greater than the KIA number of any of these folks, they die. Now they have KIA of 8, so that's not happening. Are any of them pinned? If the personality card has an exposed morale value equal to or less than the final combat resolution number, the personality card is pinned. And it looks like they all have, well, no, these 2 have morale of 3. He has morale of 1, so he is in fact pinned. This is Private Watson is now pinned. So I flip the card over, which has reduced stats on the opposing side. A panic, if the personality card has an exposed panic value, then panic is will be used for somebody that's already pinned, and that's not the case here. What about rout? If the random position number in the OR column of the random number card which caused a man to panic is greater than the man's panic defense, again, that's not the case. If all the exposed defense values of the personality under attack are greater than the final combat order, okay. A defending group can be attacked more than once per turn. It is possible for a personality card to be pinned. Yeah, okay, so the fire card, that's going to need to be discarded because I've used it. And that's discarded because that was my die roll. Nope. I did this all wrong after I just told you guys how to do this. No, I did it right. Nope, I did not. Draw a card for this guy. It's a 0. The result is nothing. It just came back to me. This card. We roll again for the next guy. What do we get? We get a -4, so that's nothing. And then we roll for the final guy as a 1, as a 3. So he is, in fact, pinned, right? Because equal to or less than, his morale is 3. We rolled a 3, so we did end up with a pin. And these cards get discarded. We still have, now what was the fire value that we had? We had 4, just a 4. So we won't have enough to use another card, but we could possibly use another card on someone else. I don't want to use him. What about this guy? Range 0, firepower 0. So nothing going on here. These bolt action rifles aren't doing this group A any good. No, not enough firepower there to use this. What about here? Same deal here. I think that's going to do it. They're at relative range 1 now, but that's still not enough to use any of these other fire cards. Alright, so that's all they can do. And because that is all we can do, following the performance of all actions, the player must discard all used cards as well as any placed cards of an eliminated group. In addition, depending on his nationality and whether or not he performed any action during that turn, he may discard 1 or more unused cards from his hand as well. Do I want to discard, now as the Germans, may always discard 1 regardless of the number of actions he performed. So what would I discard? You could argue discard that 10, but yeah, let's do it because I think I want to move. Discard, draw new. Oh, I got a woods. I don't know if that's going to help me or not. And replenish the hand, right? Hand refill. Here we go. Movement and terrain cards remain face up on the table. Player may now draw at his option as many cards from the draw pile as necessary to bring the total number of cards in his hand to his full allotment. And the Germans have 5. We need to draw 2 more cards. So maybe I shouldn't have another rally card. Hey, that's great. I'll be discarding that. Discard the building card. The first 5, right? So that's 1. Remove the first 5. Now we need to do 4 more. Oh, another fire card. So it did do us good, but we have no movement cards. Fire card of 7. That is to say, you need 7 firepower factors to use it, which is still high, but better than 10. So as groups get closer to each other, there will be more fire action taking place because your ranges are going to be such that your firepower you'll be able to afford those higher. More often, be able to afford fire cards and etc. So, where are we at now? Now it's the opposing player's turn. The opposing player is the Americans. What do they have? They have 6 cards. No terrain cards, but we have a movement card, 2 movement cards, which I think we'll use. And for by way of discard, just for looking forward, again, an American player may discard up to 2 unused cards, but only if he performed another action. So if I perform an action, I can't discard anything. But I will be performing action, so that negates my discard ability as the Americans. We're going to move Group B here, and that goes to 1, right? However, if he's pinned, can he move? I'll have to verify that. And this guy here will move 1, and that brings his relative range to 1. I've got to pause this and see if that pin guy is in fact able to move. By definition, pin means pin, so be right back. Okay, I didn't see anything that disallows him from moving with the group, and well, the only thing that affects him adversely is these reduced stats on the pin side of his card. So that's that. So that's it. Do I have smoke? I don't want to use that. I have concealed. I don't need that. I have 2 fire cards. Firepower requiring a firepower of 8 and a collective firepower of 13. Don't know that I qualify for any of those. Nothing on group A. What about yeah? So that would be 0. Group B moved, but their firepower is halved, right? Fire combat resolution. No, that only comes into play for. Doesn't affect your firepower yet. So, what range are we at? We're at range 1, which gives us a collective firepower of only 2, so we can't use that. What about these guys, which are at now? Oh, look at this. So they are at range 1, and they're at range 1. Does that make range 2? I wonder. 1 and 1 is 2. So they're all relative range 2. So you look at the range 2 factor on each personality card. And we're looking at 0 for this guy because he has a, it says machine pistols at Thompson. The others have M1 Garand, so that's only a firepower of 2, so they can't use it. And then these guys, he's got a Browning automatic rifle, BAR. But again, he's at relative range 0, so that's 2, so nothing there. So I can't use any fire cards yet. So that would be the end of the American turn. And how many cards? I used 2, so I draw 2. I don't get to discard any. Oh, another fire card. Yay. That's an 11. And another fire card with a firepower required of 15. So I think next time around, the Americans are going to do nothing and discard and try and get movement cards. You can also move by placing terrain cards, not just movement cards. So, and the cool thing with that is, again, you can place terrain cards on a opposing player and cause them to perhaps move out of off a terrain card that they're particularly fond of, or something to that effect. Back to the Germans. Back to the Germans. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rally cards aren't helping. No rally cards for the Americans, so this guy that's panicked stays that way, right? Or pinned, rather. Henry, okay. No movement cards either? We have a woods card. Where do I want this woods card? What about placing terrain card? Okay, let's see. Perform movement. Let's see, a player turn, blah, blah, blah. Perform movement by playing a terrain or movement card on a group. Only one card may be played on each group. Let's go to 5.1 and figure out how that's done. Any group may place a movement card. A terrain card may be placed on any group, provided it already has a movement card of some type in place, which is not already covered by another terrain or wire card. Each group is assumed to occupy the terrain shown on the last terrain card placed on that group, unless it has 2 movement cards in play, in which case they're in open ground, and if no terrain card is present, the terrain occupied is assumed to be open ground. So if I place this woods card here, like this, what happens? When a terrain card is played, remove all cards beneath it. This movement card now goes away. Am I wrong? Am I right? Why? Group B is now in the woods. It has a defensive value of -2 for by way of cover. Where is woods in the? There it is. Yeah, defensive factor of 2. So that's one action they did. I got 2 rally cards I can't use. What about this fire card here? Fire card 3. Group B is done. Again, I think I'm screwed with this card. Group A doesn't have it. Group B just conducted an action. Group C is at 0 and 1 is relative range 1, and that would be... Oh, we do have it. We can use this 3 firepower card here, and I will do so now for Group C with the crude light machine gun. And the firepower factor is met by the light machine gun alone. So we're good there. Otherwise we need 7, and I don't have 7 firepower factors for the other cards. So 3 here only has a firepower factor 1, so not very good. Who's he firing at? He's firing at Group B, who is moving, so that could play into the Germans' hands. Let's do this. Where do I need to be? Fire combat resolution. After seeing... Okay. Modify the fire strength by adding any modifiers due to the attacker's position. That would be nothing. Modify the resulting fire strength by adding modifiers due to the terrain occupied by the defender. That is not in play. Modify the resulting fire strength by adding any modifiers caused by the movement status of the defending group. Okay, what modifier would that entail? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm a little fuzzy on this, but my understanding is I'm going to get a +1 bonus firing at them because that's what I'm seeing there. So if I have a fire strength of 1, +1 is 2, and subtract 4, so that's going to be nothing. Next guy, looking at this random number, a 0, that's going to be nothing. Well, 2. He's pinned as well because he has a morale of 1, and remember 1 is less than 2, so he's pinned as well. Now what about this guy who has a panic value of 4? Jesus, what is all these red? If it's red, you subtract, right? Wow, that just sucked all the way around, so that's going to be nothing too. That'll be a -2 even after my firepower. So we were able to pin another American here. So 2 of these 3 in Group B are now pinned. That is Group B and Group C. I don't have anything else I can do here. However, as the Germans, I'm going to discard one of these rally cards for something else. Oh, I got a movement card, nice. And now I need to replenish my hand back to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is another movement card, and 5, which is another rally card. I don't need another rally card, but thank you very much. Now we go back to the Americans. What do I want to do with them? Oh yeah, I wanted to discard because I've got fire cards that I don't. I have a lowest fire value required card is an 8. I don't have that, especially since these guys are pinned and can't fire. So everybody else is too far away. Are they not? What's the relative range here? A 1 and a 0. A 1 and a 1 is a 2. 1, 2, 3. That's not good enough. That's definitely not going to be good enough. So yeah, I need to do nothing and discard, as the Americans, up to 2 unused cards. Let's get rid of 2 of the highest fire cards and draw 2 new cards. What do we get? We get another rally card. Well, no, our first rally card. So that'll work great on the next turn, rallying one of those pinned guys. And the pillbox, which is a cower card. So I need to check and make sure when that comes into play. Alright, that took a long time. Luckily, I'm able to pause this thing, and thank God for Board Game Geek because that cleared it up. A cower card, which is what this pillbox is, essentially just takes up space in your hand. It's a nothing card. You have to discard it to get rid of it. So that's a drag for the Americans. And yeah, that took a long time. Only a split second for you guys, though. So that's what a coward card does. And on top of that, I had a technical difficulty, so I had to fix some editing stuff and start a whole nother video here, which it's all fine. But here we go. Americans drew a coward card, and that's that, right? So now we go back to the Germans. Is that where we're at? And they have 5 cards, 2 movement cards now. Let's move. Let's get going here. Now, how do you move out of terrain? Not sure. Let me pause here again, because I think it's a little more complicated than just simply moving out of the terrain. I think it takes, well, we'll take a look. So again, it's a little bit unclear on this, but if I place this movement card here, I'm in the process of changing this terrain. I have moved, but that terrain card doesn't change, right? Which seems weird to me, because it says, and I'll read the rule in a second, I need to change that from a 1 2 and 2. And here's where we run into some issues with the rules that, again, are not exactly clear and can be troublesome for somebody that doesn't have the time or patience to suss out what the hell they mean. So the rule for this is changing the current terrain card that a group occupies first requires the presence of a placed movement card above the last occupied terrain card. Now, since only one movement or terrain card may be played in a single group per player turn, which is what I did, it will take at least 2 turns, it says, for a player to change the terrain of a group once play begins. Oh, okay, that's once play begins. So he did move out of that. Play has already begun. So I read this wrong, right? Once play begins? No. It will take at least 2 turns for a player to change the terrain of a group. Once play begins. It has already begun. You see the fog there with that? That's how I'm doing it. Again, I don't know if it's the right way to do it. Probably not. I have to advance him because it's a move card. But he's still in the woods, so that's how I represent that. That could be the first big screw up of the game. But that's where it's at. I don't want to dwell too long on it. Done there. Next movement card. Let's move Group C up. Why not, huh? Everybody's doing it. Turn that sideways to represent having conducted an action. Move. Change that from 0 to 1. So now these guys, where are they at in relative range to each other? 1 and 2 is 3. And that makes things interesting if they wanted to fire. Can't this turn, but yeah. And I think that's it. I don't need to rally. Nobody else is going to be able to fire 2 rally cards. So I can discard 1 card regardless. Let's do that. Draw a new card. Another fire card. Great. Cheaper to use, though. This would be requires a firepower of 6 to use. And replenish the hand. 2 more cards, which are all fire cards. Wow. A 17, a 13, a 7, and a 6. So not a very strong hand in my opinion. For the Germans, again, even though we have a lot of fire cards, they don't do us any good if we can't use them. Make this that. Make this this. I've already forgotten one of these movement cards. At what point they go away. Anyway, they're staying. Now it's the Americans' turn. We do have a rally card. Let's see how rallying works, guys. I want to rally... who do I want to rally? Private Watson or Private Fritali? Or do I... Well, let's just read about it. Where is rally at? Actions. Rally. Pin men regain their normal status with a rally card. Up to the number of men indicated on the rally card may be returned to normal status. Rally 3, so they're both rallied, that's it, just like that? There's no way that's that easy. Just depends on the rally card you get. It could be rally 1, rally 2, rally 3, rally 4. We'll have 2 that are pinned, a rally card 3, rallies those 2 pinned men. That's how it works. Probably the simplest aspect of the game. There's a rally all card, which affects 2 adjacent groups. That's cool. Alright, so that card's done. What else do we want to do? Puff Smoke, our cower card, pillbox, can't do us any good. Concealed card. We have a fire card with a range of a firepower required factor of 8 And they're at range 3. You check our range 3 firepower factors. We got 2, 4, 5. And I think that's halved anyway because we're moving, so that's out. Nobody else is going to be able to use anything. What about these guys? What is theirs? Is also just a 2, so we can't use those either. Now, here's something to consider, right? You could argue I set the Americans and perhaps the Germans up poorly because having them spread out, you thin out your potential firepower factors. Maybe say instead of having 4 groups, you have just 2, which allows more firepower. However, when you attack, you're going to attack each personality card in a group. So although you may be able to fire more yourself, you're going to take more casualties or risk taking more casualties simply by packing your groups more full. Now you also have the option of transferring an individual personality card from one group to another. So if you change your mind, you're not stuck, you can change it. But I suppose if you want to play things safe, you play it like this. If you want to make it a little more risky and a little more bold, you'd stack your groups a little thicker than what I have. And I think that's all the Americans can do. They rallied, and that's all I got. Draw another card to replenish the hand, and that's a brush. That's not going to do us any good. I need a movement card. Bunch of junk. What is it? Now, if I was to not do anything as the Americans on the next turn, could I do 2? Yeah, I could get rid of this. I'm going to have to do that again as the Americans. I'm not getting the cards. Back to the Germans. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. Another rally card I can't use. A ton of fire cards I probably can't use except for the 6. Let's start here and see what we got. Relative range of 3 between these two guys. And we're looking at firepower factor 1 and firepower factor 2. We don't have it. We don't have. So see, there's an issue here. It's not the game's fault. I'm not able to use these firepower factor cards because I don't have the firepower to do so. Now, again, a couple of ways to fix that. You stack your group sticker, or you hope for move cards. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think there's anything I can do as the Germans either at this point. These guys are at a relative range 2. Take that back. Our light machine gun is going to help us out here. Relative range 2 for that light machine gun gives us 6 firepower factors, and that's enough to pay for this card. Except they're moving, which cuts your firepower in half. That's what that means. 3 firepower. But see, they're not moving because that's not the action they want to do this turn. But they are moving because they moved. Unclear on this, guys. 112 range is 1. So if I have to have this card, if I have to have their firepower, it's not going to be enough to use this fire card. We're at a range of 2. Gives us 6, 7. Would be 3.5. That's not enough to use this card, but I need to determine if this move card is still in play, and I'm pretty sure it is, but I want to just be sure on that, so let's pause. Okay, so it didn't take too long. I think I may have sussed this out. You've got to be specific on the reading of this. So here, 6.41, modify the fire strength by adding any modifiers due to the attacker's position. This does not include, from what I'm reading, a move card. But then when we get to 6.43, says modify the resulting fire strength by adding any modifiers caused by the movement status of the defending group. No, that's not us. Yes, it is. Both cases will be in play here. The defending group and the attacking group are both moving, so they may cancel each other out. But again, the wording here, right? So modify the fire strength versus modify the resulting fire strength. That's key. That's key. That said, what do I do now? So modify the resulting fire strength by adding any modifiers caused by the movement status of the defending group. So that would be +1, and then that. I'm saying they cancel each other out because they're both moving. Is that an easy way out? Let's not do the easy way out. Let's suss this out. I'll be back. All right, guess what? I don't think I can fire. Here's why. Guess what? There's a section called moving fire. Go figure. And what you're going to do is the fire strength of any fire card played, which would be, let's say I want to play this one, by a currently moving group, which is what they are, is halved prior to any other modification. And it gives example and specifications. It's very clear on this, actually. What I'm having is the firepower here on the personality cards. So for instance, this light machine gun will use the bracketed lower number. 1 and 1 is 2, relative range 2, so it would be 3. And he would use, yeah, so it wouldn't be enough to use this card, so he cannot fire. And can Group A, I've already established they can't fire, right? Jesus. Group B, sorry y'all, give me 1 second here. Yeah, they're no good either. They're too far away. So that's it. We just need to hit. It's a drag right now, but honestly, we just need to hit some cards that will help us out. Now the Germans can discard 1 regardless. I'm getting rid of the 7. Jesus, who has 17 firepower factors? I guess you've got a heavily stacked group. Draw 1 for that. Oh, buildings, we get rid of that because that's not used. That makes 3 buildings left to discard. So we'll use this. Hey, there you go. 5. It takes 1 firepower factor to use this. It's a sucky firepower number, just a 1. But hey, that could help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Back to the Americans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. And what I wanted to do was discard. Right? To do that, I can't do anything. I'm getting rid of this stupid coward card. And this 13 required firepower factor card, and drawing 2 new cards. Movement card. Oh, thank God. A movement card. There they are. All right, we're good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Next turn. Can't do anything now. Back to the Germans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's use this 1 firepower required card. We're going to use Group C to do it. Relative range 2, which is a 3. Yeah, we've got this. All right, so let's fire. Here we go. Draw a card. Oh, they're moving too, though. Wait, hold on. Oh, it's +1. So 2, a negative. That's going to be 0. Next guy. Aha! That's a 4. And he is pinned again. And what's this guy? Nothing. Because if the number, again, remember, if the number's red, that you subtract from your firepower. It's bad. If the number's black, you add. That's good. So they did manage to get a pinned man. Watson is yet pinned again. That's it for Group C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything else I can do? There's a firepower of 6 card here. Has anybody got it? Group B, 3, relative range 3. That's 2, that's 3, nope. And they're moving, so definitely nope. Alright, that's it. That's all I can do. Draw a new card. 1, 2, oh, discard. Let's discard this 13. Get a new card. Firepower 14, great. And replenish our hand, that's one more. Smoke card, boo hiss. Back to the Americans, but they're 2 movement cards. So can we move? Again? I don't know if I don't know that I'm, again, doing this right. It feels wrong. Relative range changes, now go from a 1 to a 2. Wrong in the respect that I'm wondering about when these cards are removed, but I don't think they're removed until we get a terrain card. And I don't believe I could use the same card. He was already on the move. That was already used, so I think we're good. So he moved. He's done. They're now at relative range 3, that's it? Yeah, 3. Okay. That was a move. And here's another move. Who moves this time? Let's move these guys up. And he is at, that becomes a 2 as well. They're at relative range 4 now, so that's cool. So some stuff is going to happen here before too long. It was only a matter of time, right? Yeah. Relative range, just let me, no, that should be a 2, not a 4. Let me check something else here. Let me see if I can do flanking fire. So these guys are relative range 4. What's he at? Relative range 3. No. Close though. Very close. Alright, so they move, so that's 2 actions and they're done. I don't think anybody else has anything they can do. No, that's it. So, draw 2 new cards. More brush. Because we need more brush. And a hill. So, terrain cards. Alright, here we go. That's for the next turn. Back to the Germans. Let's do this thing here. What is relative range 4? No, you got to be a relative range 5 for infiltration / close combat. We're not there yet. We're only at relative range 4. But we're going to be firing, you better believe it, with this card, hopefully. Relative range 4. Non-bracketed numbers 4, range 4, 6. Ah, we just missed it, so we have to use the 6. Relative 4, yeah, we've got it. If we use this, 6 firepower factors required, but it's going to give us 2, I can't go backwards, 2 firepowers to work with. Firing at Group C, so starting, well, we're moving though, right? We're still moving. Technically we're still moving, y'all. So I don't know that I can use this. And I looked at the wrong, okay. I looked at the completely wrong group. These guys that are firing. Range 4 is 3, range 4 is 5. We're 1 shy even if we hadn't moved. So no, I got overzealous here. I can't do anything. But I can discard a card. I guess what I want at this point is a terrain card for the Germans so I can get rid of that movement card and not be moving. Is that what needs to happen? Let's get rid of the smoke card and draw another one. Jesus, nothing. Alright, back to the Americans. We're doing that. We're placing a terrain card under Group C, which gets rid of everything underneath. That's their action. And we're placing a brush card under Group B, which gets rid of that stuff. That's their action. So now they're not moving. See how that works? I think I'm doing this right. Now they're not moving. They're in cover. Anything else we can do? No. That's it. Draw 2 new cards. Another movement card. Man, the Americans are getting the movement cards. Back to the Germans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got nothing. I got nothing. Let's discard this 14 firepower factor guy. Draw another rally card. Great. Back to the Americans. Who have 1 fire card. Oh, we have movement cards. Hold on. So we can move here. Move that to 1. He's done. Goes like that. Done. And this guy here goes like that, and he's done. Goes to a 1. Now these guys. Let's start here. Group C. Relative range 4. Not moving. This is awesome. What do we have? We have this 8 firepower factor card we want to use here. Relative range 4 for a Thompson is a 3. For M1 Grand is 6, 7, 8. So we definitely have, we can afford the firepower card. Oh, and it's a firepower factor of 4. They're moving, so add 1, that's 5. Now we're at 6 for, wasn't able to kill him, but I was able to pin him, which wasn't easy to do because he's an assistant squad leader with a pretty high morale. That goes away. Next. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, we got equal to his KIA. I still don't think that's going to be enough, though. KIA. If personality card is equal or the final combat. Oh, he is. We knocked him out. We killed him. Americans got first kill of the game. Americans, they knocked out Private Bernhoff, who had a bolt action rifle. He's done. Out of here, going. So that was kind of cool. Why am I holding? Okay. We need a. Do we have a KIA marker? I noticed there's some in here, but they have numbers on. Why do they have numbers on? I don't know why. I'm putting a KIA marker on Bernhoff. And that's the only, I'd love to do more, but that's the only fire card I have, no more movement cards. That's a pretty good turn for the Americans, right? Yeah. Concealed card and fire card and fire card. So, and those are fire cards I can afford, so that's good, but they're low overall. Back to the Germans, the poor, struggling, awful, horrible. Let's get rid of this Rally 1 card and hopefully get something, a move card, a terrain card, anything, nothing. You know what? This is such junk. So again, the fact that it's like this could be because I'm doing something incorrect. I probably am, involving these move cards. But I don't see that they are removed. They stay in play until you place a terrain card over them. I'll look one more time, make sure I'm doing this right, but I think that's just the breaks. From everything I've read and gather and can understand, it represents them moving still. So that's how it goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I already did my discard, did I not, for the Germans? I think so. I'm back to the Americans. Not happy. Let's use this fire card here. I only need 2 to use it. Relative range 3 is a 2. Yeah, I've already got it. And they're moving, so fire strength of 1, add 1 for them moving is 2. Start drawing. That's going to be nothing because it's a red subtract 3 number. That's going to be nothing, or is it? 2? 2? Yep, pin this guy. Pin one of the crew members of the machine gun. Oh, that sucks. And I got to use the bracketed lower numbers. And for the final result, 2, which is nothing. So I did pin Private Beck. That was the fire card there. Let's put that up. Now we have another fire card. Fire card requires 5 fire strengths. We think we got this here. Definitely have it. Relative range of 4, right? Yep. 3, we have it. So now we go fire strength of 1, add 1 because they're moving. But they're still in the woods? Is that what's going on? They're moving, but they're still in the woods. So it's a fire strength of 0 after all those modifiers. Draw for the first one, the only one left in that group, and that's nothing. A non-event. Because if you remember, I killed Private Bernhoff, so group B only has 1 guy left in it. I'd probably do well to, if I ever get a movement card, move to either Group C or Group A, which would benefit those groups because we're not doing anything to help the Germans by keeping Corporal Hessel alone in that group. So that was the Americans. 2, 3, 4, draw new cards. 5, move card. Look, what the Germans don't get. 6, rally. Speaking of Germans, Fire 15 card is gone. I'm not using that for anything. Move card? No, concealed. Germans are screwed still. Don't have it. I don't have it. Back to the Americans. They can move again. How about that? Now, here's the deal. Ready? Here's something different. If I place another move card top of that move card, he has effectively moved out from the wall and is now in the open. That's how that works. I just read that. I'm confident in that respect. That's what's up. Adjust the relative range here to a 2. So now they're at relative range 2, and they're still at 0. What else can I do? Do I need? Yeah, I can rally Private Watson again. He keeps breaking. Come on, Watson, get it together. What's wrong with you? And I think that's it. I can place this brush card. Yes, I can. On group D, which removes everything underneath, so he's no longer moving. There's that. And I think that's all I can do for the Americans. They sure are just rolling along. 3, 4. Buildings card. Discard that. And now I only need to discard 2 more buildings cards. Oh, buildings card. 1 more buildings card left to discard. There's a fire card. 16 fire factors required. Oh yeah, another smoke card. And I've never smoked these cards, but I guess I can try. It says smoke. Some woods card. Alright, so back to the poor saps that are the Germans. Stuck. Can do nothing. We gotta get something. Terrain card, movement card. This is embarrassing here. A sniper card. Oh, what is the sniper card? Now, we can't use that this turn, but let's learn about snipers. Snipers. Unless a scenario special rule designates sniper cards as being playable, only a particular side in that scenario, any player with a sniper card may play it, provided he does so as a discard. I don't think this scenario allows. It does not. A useless card. Sniper cards are not in play for the meeting of patrols, so again the Germans came up raw short end of the stick. I don't have 16 firepower factors as the American to do anything, do I? 4 firepower factor. 4 is 3, 5. No, there's 7. It's less than half there. Group D doesn't have anything, do they? Relative range of 1. Nope. What about Group B? A relative range of 3. 2, 4, 6. Nope. And they're not going to have it because they're moving. Only thing I can do is replace this move junk stuff underneath with this, and now they're in the woods. There we go there. Draw a new card. We're not even halfway through the draw pile. Another move card. Hey, look what the Germans will not get. Back to the Germans. Would discard the sniper card and get... Oh, thank God we got a movement card. But we can't play that this round. That 16 doesn't do any good. Well, who do we want to move? We want to move... Move these guys. Group A is going to move up. Their relative range is now goes from a 2 to a 3. That makes it 3 because they're in relative range 0. There's that there. That's how that works. Anything else I can do? No. We'll do 3, 4, 5. Draw a new card. It is the last buildings discard. So we're done discarding buildings. If we get any more, well, we're good to go with the buildings. And we do not get more buildings cards. Germans. They have a movement card. Can I... So what I want to do, remember what I said I needed to do, is move Corporal Hessel, although he's pinned. Jesus. I don't know fire cards. Alright, hold on here. 1, 2, 3. Fire card. Do I have 6 this way? It is relative range 3 now. Relative range 3 only gives me 1, and 2 is 3, so no, that's only half. What about Group C? Just need 6 here. Relative range 3 is 4, 5. I just missed it. No, I didn't. Relative range, but they're moving still. For Christ's sake. What here? Relative range 1, no, not going to do it. So I cannot use this fire card or that fire card. Rally doesn't do me good, so I'm going to move. Where am I going to move? Who's going to move? What's going to move? Let's do this. Group D's moving up. Moving on up. And now we're at relative range 4 for these guys. Alright. That's it. Draw a new card. Back to the Americans. Stupid fire card. So relative range 4. 2. Yeah, I don't have it. So I'm getting rid of this fire card. I can do 2, right? 2 discards if I don't do anything else. And one of these concealed cards. Let me verify that. Yeah, up to 2 unused cards. What do we get in place of that? A fire card with only a 12. That's better. Oh, okay. 2 more fire cards we could potentially use the next turn. And then back to the Germans. I still don't think I have enough firepower for this 6 firepower required card. Relative range 4 here at 3. I don't have it. I just, as much as I want it, I don't have it. Relative range 3 for them. Leaves 4. Just, you know, I could use it here, but they're moving. So So we'll discard and hope for the best. Discard the terrain. Nope. Fire card. This one's even worse. So the bad luck for the Germans continues. Back to the Americans. Let's see what we can do with this. Do we have 12 here? Because if we do, that gives us a fire power of 5. If we have a fire strength of 12 to pay for it, we get a fire power of 5. Who has that? Surely they have that. Surely. Relative range 4. We need 12. That's 3, 5, 7. We don't have it. Good job. About here, relative range 1. I'm not going to have it here either. 3, 4, 5. Nope. About here. Relative range 4. Same deal. We don't have it, but we do have enough for this 2 fire strength card at a fire power of 1. Maybe they're moving unless we use these guys, which I will. And we've got that in spades. Fire power factor 4, range 4 is 3. Yeah, we've got that. So fire power factor 1, add 1 because they're moving. Start drawing for this guy who's already pinned. And you draw for each, what is that, 2 and 1 is 4. Does he route? Alright, I have things to check here. He may have routed, I'm not sure on this. Route. If the random position number in the OR column of the RNC which caused a man to panic is... Okay, no. I didn't cause him to panic. If the random position number of the OR column of the random number card which caused a man to panic is less than man's panic defense... Alright, hold on. I gotta pause. Alright, so I got a little excited. I thought I had routed somebody, but I didn't. That's a nothing. 1, 2 plus 0 is 2. That's nothing. And finally, come on, give me something here. That's nothing too. So that was a bust. That's it for the Americans. Draw a new card. Movement card. Alright, that's fine. Germans can't do anything. 4, 5. We can discard. What, have I been discarding 1 card and not 2 for the Germans? Am I nuts? Yeah, just 1. Okay, so I'm right. Let's get rid of this one. Yeah, let's get rid of this one. And come on, give me something here. Stinking move card. I don't need a move card. Back to the Americans. I don't have anything for this 12, or I would have used it, so nothing changed. Relative range 4. It's 2, 4. No, nothing's changed here, right? Relative range 4. 2, 4. No, nothing's changed. So I can discard 2. Having not done any actions. Let's get rid of these 2 and see what we get. 1, a rally card. Nope. I couldn't spend just junk. Junk. Let's get rid of this. Do this. Yeah, well, that doesn't help either. Alright, here's something interesting we can do that we haven't done yet. If I use this card, place it here, he is now in the open, but he puts him at relative range 5. Why is that significant? That is significant because a whole can of worms is now opened. Relative range 5. I have to check this. Relative range 5 means infiltration / close combat. And where is that at? Hello? I need to determine if that happens now or the next turn. That is, come on, where is the infiltration close combat? When an no, okay, so it doesn't happen now, but the next time it will. When you start at relative range 5. Did I do that right? See, that's the thing. So my question is, would he block my advance of attaining relative range 5? Because I don't believe I moved here to get that. That would have been 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, which would have been relative range 4. I think he... How can he be stuck at relative range 4 though and not... Oh Lord. I think it's relative range 5. We'll leave it at that. Was that it for the Americans? Is that all they can do? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Draw another card. That's not any better. Germans again. Ridiculousness continues. Let's get rid of this card. Get the... Oh my God, what is the deal here? The deck is literally stacked against the Germans. Alright, so now we do start at relative range 5. It's the Americans' turn again. What happens at relative range 5? Infiltration and close combat. When an infantry group starts, blah blah blah. We enter close combat. Oh, I gotta pause this. Alright, so close combat is comprehensive. You can't... I'm at relative range 5 is what I need, but you can't conduct close combat yet. You have to infiltrate the opposing group, and then potentially you can conduct close combat. But to infiltrate... unpinned men would start their player turn at relative range 5. May attempt to individually infiltrate infiltrate one or more of those groups with or without playing a movement card, but how many men and how they will attempt to infiltrate must be designated before the first attempt is resolved. I'm going to attempt one guy for infiltration purposes. In order to succeed in his attempt to infiltrate without playing a movement card, each man must pass a morale check. Screw it, I'm doing all 3 of them. By drawing a random number card less than his current morale value, ignoring color. First one, his morale is 1. He's not going to do it. And then the next one is morale 3. He does it. And the next one is morale 3. Morale 4, he draws a 3. He does it. So I have 2 infiltrators. So we can mark them with these little crawly infiltrator guys here. See if you can see that or not. And you mark the personality cards, not the group card here. Now what happens? Let's see. His pin is, if he draws around, which is greater, his pin without infiltrating. Oh, okay. There's that too. 0 was not... Okay, he's good. I was going to say, if you draw a random number, when you try to infiltrate, if you draw a random number greater than your morale, you're pinned. The first guy failed, but he did not draw greater. Did he? What was his? He drew a 0. Let's just let it go. I've got 2 that have infiltrated. Now what happens? An unpinned man may attempt to infiltrate without having to pass a morale check. Okay, blah. Blah. No. When checking for infiltration, the attacker draws. Random number card. Pause it. I'm taking too long here, so I gotta pause. Alright, so a man who has infiltrated and two of them have. The defender's position is still part of his group. In his group's terrain, able to fire with that group and subject to fire versus that group. However, he also has several special capabilities. He may double his firepower. He can enter into close combat. I'm assuming those were the actions for that group this turn, no? Was my infiltration? So bear that in mind. Having now successfully infiltrated the opposing group D, we can double our firepower or enter close combat. What's my fire cards here? The same stupid 12, huh? Does that not... So my question is, I didn't use a move card to infiltrate, which is an option. That said, having not used a card, can I... What am I trying to discard and get some new ones? Because I didn't use any cards, technically. I did conduct an action, though. I'm going to say yes. I'm saying yes. That's what I'm saying. He gets rid of... Oh, I already forgot. 2 and draw 2 more. Movement and movement, so no new fire cards. I don't know that will help. Back to the Germans. I have a move card here. No, I could read... You don't just... I already said this at the beginning, but you may have forgotten. You don't have to just move forward. You can withdraw as well. I don't know how that would affect these infiltrators. I assume it would affect them in some form or manner. Where's my rally? I do have a rally, so let's rally him. Corporal Hessel, if you'll remember, was pinned. We rally him. He's done, and in the next round we can laterally transfer him to another group and dissolve that one-man group that is Group B. That was something. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're still screwed on firing at anything. Movement, let's move Group A up 1. Change that to 1. And that's it. 1, 2, 3. Draw 2 new cards. Come on, you know, something, anything. Where's all the terrain cards at? Jesus. 2 more rally cards. And I spent that damn movement card. And I should have saved it to move him laterally. You see? You see what happens? Oh, God. Americans moving Group D up 1. Boom. There. That becomes a 2. Might be some mental fatigue going on here at this point. I need to eat dinner. I need to do other things. This guy is moving as well. Group B is moving up. I think the Americans got it. At this point, they're reaching their relative range 4s, and we have a KIA here. Still a lot of game left, though. Did I move their range up? 0, 1, 2, 3. I did not. 3. So that's that. And then again, what's our fire like on this? What about here? We're at relative range 3. So 2, 4. That's 8. No, still don't have it. Draw new cards. Conceal this junk. And fire card, which I can probably use. Germans don't need any rally cards. Don't need this 18 firepower card either. Got to be something in there. We go. Finally, look at this. The Germans finally get lucky. They get a buildings terrain card. Life is good. Back to the Americans. Let's benefit from this card, shall we? So if you remember, we have two infiltrators here that double their firepower. They're at range 5, so those would be, yeah, we've got, well, you know, we could use this guy. Cost 12 to use this, and if we double, that's 3, 6. 5 and 5 is, yeah, we've got this. Let's use it. Here we go. We're moving, and they're moving, and everything's okay. All right, hold on. Do we still have it if we have the thing? So that relative range 5 is 5, 8. We do not have it for this, but we have it for this. Again, 5, 8. Yeah, we have enough to use this 8 firepower card, which gives us a fire strength of 3. Add 1 because the Germans are moving. We would benefit from doubling our infiltrators' firepower, but because we're moving, our movement is halved. Again, I don't know that I'm doing all this 100% correctly, so don't take my word for it. Drawing for this guy is a red 3 that's subtracted. That means 3, 4 is a 1. That is nothing. Drawing for the next guy in the group is a 3. 3, 4, 5. He is pinned. Really? Our squad leader's pinned here? It's just not working out for the Germans at all. And then last card draw for our last, this is Sergeant Burnett. That's just going to be a 3. And that's not enough to do anything. Yes, it is. He pinned this guy too, so this entire group is now pinned. I'm telling you, short of me not doing things 100% correctly, I can also say that it's just nothing's going the Germans' way. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anything else I can do? Let's say, yeah, there is, I think. If I can benefit from a 12 firepower strength anywhere, here would be where it would be at. Relative range 4, 3, 5, 8. No. So they're done. Draw a new card. That's a fire card. Ooh, can use that fire card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Germans. Buildings card. Thank God in heaven. You know what that means, right? I'm no longer freaking moving. Thank the gods. Thank Buddha. Thank Muhammad. Thank Krishna. Alright, they're in buildings. Because they moved into them. Proves their defense. They don't have that negative modifier when they fire for being in move status, so that is a good thing. And we withdraw. We can discard 1 simply for being the Germans. Let's discard this, pull this. It's a move card. 2, 3, 4, and we'll replenish our hand to 5. Another move card. But I don't know that I need move cards. I need affordable fire cards at this point. Americans. Now it's the Americans who need a terrain card, so they cannot be moving here. And I will call this soon. Trust me. Any minute now. Well, let's see if we can use this fire card here. Here. Because they're not moving. Fire strength of 5. Do we have this at relative range 4? Yes, we do. Alright, here we go. Fire power of 2. They're moving. Let's make that 3. Nothing. Does 3 affect anything on him? No. Next guy. Nothing. How was that nothing too? Alright, fine. And the final guy, oh yes, nice. That's an 8. Guess what that means? Since he has a KIA of 8, we have another kill. This card will kill. As they say in Forged in Steel. Right, let me check. Yep, gone. So another KIA on the assistant squad leader, Corporal Hessel. And that means things. It means we need another KIA marker, but more importantly, this group is gone now. These go away. This essentially goes away. And here's where it would benefit Group C of the Americans to go somewhere else. They don't have to, but it would benefit them. And then these go away. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all I'm going to do for the Americans here. What am I trying to say in the next? Well, actually now. You have to scrunch your guys together. So where there's a gap here, you can't have gaps. And I think I have to immediately close that gap. How does that work? Let me check that. Well, I guess I dreamed it. I thought maybe because of this now vacant gap here, I needed to close that, but I suppose I'm confusing that with just setup. You can't set up like that. And how would that take place anyway? That would mean moving away from, yeah, so we're good to go there. Now, I'm going to call it at this point, but things to consider. Flanking fire, I think, is in play. Encirclement may be in play. I'll have to check the rules between these two opposing columns. That is to say, Group B and Group D, Group A and Group C. I need to verify that, but I think that is something that needs to be looked into. Also, if you remember, I have 2 infiltrators here. I'm not sure if withdrawing as the Germans Group D back would be in my interest or their interest. It might be, and negate the effects of doubling infiltrators, doubling their firepower and disallowing close combat. Not sure there. Well, what else? Victory conditions did we meet? All or any of those? I know we met some of them. The victory conditions were as such: the first player to have at least 4 unpinned personality cards and 1 or more non-infiltrated groups at range chit 4 occupying any terrain card. So range chit 4, we have this would be this group, but they don't have a terrain card. So I think to win, all we would need is a terrain card based on what I just read. At least 4 unpinned personality cards. No, that would be only 3. So here's what we would have to do. We'd have to do a lateral transfer. Figure out how that worked between these 2 opposing groups. Transfer 1 soldier to here. Place a terrain card on there, and boom, good to go. That's victory for the Americans. And I tell you what, the damn luck of the draw card-wise for the Germans really stunk. Also, take into consideration, I guarantee you I didn't play this 100% correctly. I played it to the best of my ability, as correct as possible, without literally getting a microscope and picking apart and dissecting the rules, but I combed over them fairly well. And that's just the breaks, I guess, of the. We have a card-driven game. You're going to draw some duds. And you may draw a few duds in a row before you get what you want, but that's how it goes. So, not sure what you guys think about this. I may not have done this justice as far as kindling interest in the game, but don't take my play for it. Find out for yourselves what you think of this, and Maybe you'll discover something that you were unable to fathom in watching this video. Again, I defend it. It's interesting. It's definitely original. I don't know if there's there has been anything like it since. You could argue that Fields of Fire, well, it's out of camera, but you could argue Fields of Fire is similar, but I would argue that it's not. Yes, it has cards, but it plays a lot differently than this. I think at the end of the day, I would take your basic squad leader or advanced squad leader over something like this. But it's still a hoot. I don't know. Definitely need to play it a lot more than I have been to get the full benefit. And again, this is scenario 1. There's so many things that are not included in that scenario. Again, you've got armor in here, artillery, all kinds of fun stuff, snipers, that we didn't get to because it's not included in this introductory scenario. So there's that to bear in mind as well. I have gone on long enough. I doubt anybody watches this till the end. For those that have, you get a gold star. You get 2 gold stars. That's it. I'm out. I'm going to eat and I'm done. You all have a good night. Thanks for watching as usual. If you haven't subscribed and you've been watching these things, just subscribe. What does it hurt? What do you have to lose if you subscribe? Anything? And it helps me out. So there's that. All right, guys. That's it. I'm out. Talk to you next time.